I've thought about last week's show again, and I'm like, God, it really was that bad. I didn't oversell it. I maybe, in fact, undersold just how bad that Raw was. So I was hoping this week heading into the show that I was going to get something better, that I was going to get a little more storyline consistency, maybe some decent build towards TLC, maybe some improvements with character development. And frankly, I got none of that. This to me was another really bad Raw, frankly. This is the second one in a row. This was really bad. Not a way to finish out the year of 2013 strong, and not a way to start setting the table for WrestleMania 30 at all. I thought this show again this week was pretty bad. Not quite as bad as last week's show because that's saying a lot, but this still was a very, very tough show for me to sit through for 3 hours because it was just flat out bad. The first thing that really stands out to me with this week's Raw is storyline inconsistency. Like the first thing, as you kick off the show, you've got CM Punk talking. Out comes Stephanie McMahon. Here comes Kane. And ultimately, Kane makes the announcement that CM Punk's going to be wrestling the Shield in a 3-on-1 handicap match at TLC. First of all, why in the fuck is the Shield attacking CM Punk? Number two, are we supposed to forget? Do you really think we're that stupid that our memories are that short as wrestling fans? And to be fair, maybe they are. Maybe a lot of you just don't care because it involves one of your golden children, CM Punk. But is this not the same Shield group that was introduced in part because they were hired by Paul Heyman to help protect CM Punk and keep him as WWE champion when he was feuding with Ryback? Am I supposed to forget that shit? Is the WWE ever going to bother to make that a part of the storytelling element here? Are they going to give us any real reason for Punk having to face all three of these guys at TLC? Does that make any fucking sense at all to anybody if you really think about it? Remove the fact that it's one of your heroes, CM Punk, and just evaluate it at face value. It's just stupid, and it makes no fucking sense. Again, storyline inconsistency to the highest order. And speaking of that, some more storyline inconsistency that involves another one of your heroes, Daniel Bryan. Again, try to remove yourself from the loving of Daniel Bryan here for a second to just understand and comprehend just how ridiculous this really fucking is. You're going to tell me that last week the Wyatt family beat down Daniel Bryan, took him, beat him down some more, took him away, threw him in the freaking car or whatever the fuck, and now this week on Raw, he's going to come down the ramp, selling no injuries whatsoever, and still coming down doing yes, yes, yes. I don't know about you, but if somebody tried to take me, and I had the chance a week later to get back at him, do you really think I'm going to be going down the ramp going yes, 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 and doing all this other stupid shit? No, I don't think so. And furthermore, does it make any fucking sense that Punk and Bryan beat the Wyatt family at Survivor Series, and now here again, Daniel Bryan beats Eric Rowan? This stupidity of always booking the baby faces on top is what waters down these baby faces, makes them very bland, makes them very vanilla, and makes them baby faces that the crowd really doesn't want to get behind. I don't give a fuck if it's CM Punk. I don't give a fuck if it's Daniel Bryan. It doesn't matter. Same elements apply when you had Randy Orton or John Cena as a top baby face. The same rules apply. Sheamus as well. When you always book them on top and you always book them to win, nobody has any reason to ever get behind the guys. But still, that really bothers me. Why the fuck is CM Punk going to be wrestling the Shield in a 3-on-1 handicap match of all damn things? And why the hell is Daniel Bryan, a week after being beaten down and taken away, basically kidnapped, is he coming back like you're not even really talking about it? You allude to it and that's it. And he's sitting there doing yes, yes, yes. Because that's what all of us would do in real life, right? I realize professional wrestling is scripted entertainment, but part of the purpose of the form of entertainment, and part of the way you get the crowd emotionally invested, the fans emotionally invested, which is ultimately the most important thing that leads to everything else, is you get people to be able to relate to it. And no matter how off the wall or crazy it might be, it's based on at least some shred of reality that people can relate to, they can understand, and they can get behind and say, you know what, that makes sense. Daniel Bryan should not be coming down the ramp going, yes, yes, yes. He should be stewing coming down the ramp. He should be bolting his ass down the ramp, trying to take on all three of these motherfuckers, getting himself disqualified for hitting him with chairs and every fucking thing else. And he just beat his ass last week, and they freaking kidnapped him. And he's going to come down this week and do yes, yes, yes. It's just amazing how stupid the WWE really is when it comes to storyline continuity. This shit makes no fucking sense at all. Another thing that was incredibly striking about this week's Raw was the piss poor, and I mean again, piss poor character development for several individuals. Like, I'll give you one example, a prime example. You've got The Miz and Kofi Kingston versus the Real Americans. Now, I thought Miz had already turned heel, but now they're seeming to hedge on it, only to, after they lose in this match, Miz slaps Kofi Kingston. I didn't know what the fuck was going on here. What the hell are they doing? Hell, it looks like Miz and Kofi Kingston flat out are confused. So you can imagine how confused we are as an audience, WWE. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. If you come up with something, you should have never turned Miz babyface to begin with. I fucking told you so. So you did it anyways because you're morons. And then you, like I predicted, had no clue what the fuck to do with them because he wasn't ready to be a babyface because he's a very easy-to-hate character, therefore makes him a great heel. So let's put him on the other side where we're trying to force people to cheer this vanilla-ass babyface. No, you keep him a heel. That's where the intrigue and the interest is. But then you're hedging on it. You don't know what you're doing. You're having him sitting there fucking celebrating with Titus O'Neil and Michael Strahan one week, and then he's teaming up legit with Kofi Kingston the next, even though a couple of weeks ago, didn't he just sit there and fucking turn his back on Kofi and go, ah, the fuck? And then speaking of that, now all of a sudden you stopped having Cesaro do the Cesaro swing? Why? Because that might, God forbid, actually get him over. That might, by God, actually, give him a chance to have some success as a babyface. That might actually give him a chance to be a legitimate singles performer. So you stop having him do the Cesaro swing? He has to beat Kofi Kingston with the uppercut? Get the fuck out of here. And speaking of piss poor character development, look at Xavier Woods and R-Truth versus Tensai and Clay. This is another example here. You have Brodus Clay, who was a freaking monster when he was walking around with Alberto Del Rio. They bring him back, and he's the Funkasaurus and all this shit. And now he's not even that funky. I don't even think they had the Funkadactyls come out with him this week. And if they did, I sure as hell didn't see him, and that pisses me off because I wanted to see Naomi, damn it. That pisses me off to no end. But what really pisses me off is the fact that you bring in Xavier Woods, and you really don't have any concept of what the hell you're doing with him as a character. You're just bringing him in. Oh, look at this guy. He's kind of funny. He's doing all the shucking and jiving and the dancing and all this other good stuff. That's what they like to do. That's what Vince McMahon thinks, and it's bullshit. Complete bullshit. And then after this match, you got freaking Brodus Clay push the switch. What the fuck is going on here? You clearly are grasping at straws, and you clearly have no clue what the fuck you're doing, which ties into the next character. You know what's bad news for? It's bad news for Wade Barrett. Why? Because after all these times, he's fucking like 6'5", 270 pounds, and he can talk, and he's British. Three things that should instantly, you would think, elevate him in the consciousness of the WWE and make him a big-time main event star. So they continue to not be able to figure out what the hell to do with this guy. 3.5 years later, still hasn't held a world championship. Either World Heavyweight Championship, WWE Championship, the leader of the Nexus. You put all this push behind it. 3.5 years later, you're still trying to figure out what the fuck to do with him. So now he's going to be Bad News Bear. What's he going to do? Continue to cut these stupid-ass 2-minute cheap heat promos? How hard is it? Look at the motherfucker. He's 6'5", like 270, and he can talk, and he's British. How much harder is it to figure out something for this guy to do? How many times do you have to change his character? And you still don't fucking get it. The stupidity of this company is mind-blowing, whether it comes to the storyline inconsistencies and just the flat-out lack of attention to detail because they don't care. It's the arrogance of being the WWE and saying, well, our fans don't know. They don't care. We'll just push it right by them. No, what you do is you insult the intelligence of the audience and you get them even less emotionally invested in your product. And another way to do that is with these dumb shit character ideas. Whether that is, we're going to turn him Miz heel, but then he's not, but then maybe he is again. Oh, we don't fucking know. They don't know. So why the fuck do we expect you to know? And then 3.5 years later, you still can't figure out what the fuck to do with Wade Barrett. How hard is it? I mean, seriously. I might just be a guy talking in front of 2 stockings and a Christmas tree, but how fucking hard is it to figure out something to do with Wade Barrett that could make him a big-time star? Seriously. And then we get to what, to me, was the big killer of Raw this week, and that is the repetitive, lazy booking of the WWE. This is perhaps the worst thing of all. Worse than the storyline inconsistency, worse than the piss-poor character development. It's the laziness of WWE's creative team and creative process, headed by Vince and Stephanie and Triple H. Everybody's accountable to this. You are. Period. There's no one person that's above anybody else. You're all part of one big team, and you've managed as one big team to collectively lay a lazy-ass goose egg yet again. Let's look at Dolph Ziggler versus Damien Sandow. What's this, the third straight fucking week they've had a match on Raw? And this time, they're fighting to see who could be the #1 contender at the Intercontinental Championship held by Big E Langston. Whoopity-woo! Yet again, another example of you're just going to trot out some type of IC title match that may or may not happen at TLC. We'll see between Damien Sandow and Big E Langston. Not going to bother to really try and build up a feud to this, because I would take maybe 10 or 15 minutes of writing and creative brainstorming and thinking to come up with something, so that way come next week you could have something, and the week after you could have something that could at least build some type of reasonable to accept feud between these two, giving them a real reason to wrestle at TLC. But we'll get the same old lazy mid-card bullshit with the WWE that we always do. Speaking of lazy, and speaking of lazy indeed, you've got ADR versus Sin Cara. Yes, we get it. They're both Mexican. Does that necessarily mean that they have to wrestle? Well, you knew if Sin Cara was going to appear here that they were going to try and spotlight him. But he just beat a guy in ADR that, correct me if I'm wrong, was just a World Heavyweight Champion like a month and a half ago and just wrestled John Cena twice at back-to-back pay-per-views, both Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series. And now he's getting beat in relatively short order, 100% clean by fucking Sin Cara, the botch king of botch kings? How many times ADR beat Sin Cara? Oh, and then to make it so bad when we talk about the storyline inconsistency, the piss poor character development, and the lazy booking of the WWE. Did you notice the huge fucking tattoo that Sin Cara has? Are we going to have Hunico be Sin Cara? Or is Sin Cara Mystico? Is he going to be Sin Cara? So next week, if we see Sin Cara again, and he doesn't have that big freaking tattoo, are we supposed to pretend that never existed? Are we supposed to pretend that we didn't see that? What the fuck is going on here? I get that you're trying to ramp up Sin Cara's character now to wrestle Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania 30, and I am fine with that. I've talked about that on numerous occasions in the past, wanting to see that. An old school, new school element that has something different to it, that's cool. But that's the best you could do? You have Sin Cara beat ADR? I mean, you're not even trying to build up Sin Cara here. You're just like, oh, he's been gone forever, and when you did see him last, he was losing a bunch of matches. So now he beats ADR, a guy who was just World Heavyweight Champion a month and a half ago in a pretty short match. Wow. But the laziest booking of all, of course, and this goes back again to piss poor character development, this goes back into storyline inconsistencies, but it's John Cena and Randy Orton and their big showdown and supposed whatever the fuck contract signing. Now, first of all, I do want to point out the Unified Champion. What a dumb dick name. Any of you that voted for that should go look at yourself in the mirror, realize that you indeed are a big part of the problem with today's WWE and today's wrestling business as a whole. An open-handed pimp slap the shit out of yourselves. Ridiculous. Unified. You've got Undisputed WWE Champion, Undisputed World Champion. Names that make sense. Oh, he's going to be the Unified Champion. That just reeks of some corporate, watered-down WWE universe bullshit, doesn't it? But what really reeks of bullshit is John Cena versus Randall Keith Orton. This is lazy. This is just sitting there and saying, we don't know what the hell we're doing. We don't know where the hell we're going. So we're going to take this guy here and this guy here. Hey, we don't need to bother elevating anybody else. It's John Cena versus Randall Keith Orton. Why wait till WrestleMania 30? Why bother having these guys wrestle one-on-one at WrestleMania when arguably they're the two biggest names of their generation? Let's give it away at TLC instead, because that's a good thing to do. And we'll just worry about it later, instead of trying to plant the seeds of several months of creative writing and booking to lead to that big match at WrestleMania 30. I cannot believe just how lazy this company is. I cannot believe how piss poor their storytelling elements are. I cannot believe how piss poor their character development is. And to me, so many things from this company that I've complained about for a long time rooted their ugly heads this week on Raw, period. This was a bad show, did nothing to get me excited. And I emphasize again, nothing to get me excited about TLC. If you got any excitement or any arousal out of this week's Raw, then God bless you. You're a better individual than me, because I sure the fuck didn't get anything out of the show except frustrated and pissed off, period. Fuck this company's second straight week of a horrible ass Raw, period.